will help you. The crimson sands of Draconis 7 stretched endlessly beneath twin suns, each grain shimmering with crystallized stardust from the ancient battles fought overhead. Maya pressed her small, scaled hand against her mother's heaving side, feeling the labored rise and fall of breath beneath silver-blue scales that had once gleamed like moonlight on water. Now those scales were cracked and bleeding, pierced by a poison-tipped harpoon that no dragon healing could touch. "Mama," Maya whispered, her voice barely audible over the whistling desert wind. Her own scales, still soft with youth, rippled from violet to deep blue with distress. At only 40 cycles old, a child by dragon standard, she had never known fear like this. "Please wake up." Her mother Seraphina had been the guardian of the Western Territories, protector of 3 systems, and singer of the old songs that kept the Voidspawn at bay. But even the mightiest could fall, and the Kresh hunters had learned to coat their weapons with synthetic toxins designed specifically to bypass immunity. Mia's pointed ears twitched. Footsteps, heavy, boots crunching across sand and stone. She spun around, her small wings flaring defensively despite their inability to lift her more than a few feet. Her golden eyes fixed on the figure approaching from the ridge, a human, walking steadily through the killing heat that would have dropped most species within minutes. The human was tall by their standards, wearing a battered military jacket that had seen better decades. Scars traced patterns across weathered brown skin, and one eye had been replaced with a cybernetic implant that glowed faintly blue. He moved with the careful precision of someone who had learned to read terrain for threats, whose body remembered wars even if the mind tried to forget. This was Ferret, the veteran, the stories about him whispered through cantinas and spaceports across 5 sectors. They said he'd fought in the Purge Wars, that he'd held the line at Thermopylae Station when everyone else fled, that he'd walked into a Kresh hive alone and walked back out carrying 3 civilians, who shouldn't have survived. They also said he'd retired to this desert world to die quietly, bothered by neither memory nor man. Mia's instinct screamed to protect her mother, but another part of her, the part that had listened to her mother's stories about humans, about their inexplicable stubbornness in the face of extinction. Their refusal to accept the word impossible made her voice her desperate thought aloud. "Wake up, Mama. Maybe that human will help you." Ferret stopped 10 meters away, his organic eye taking in the scene with tactical efficiency while his cybernetic one likely scanned for threats and analyzed the dragon's vital signs. His expression remained unreadable, a mask worn smooth by too many losses. "Please," Maya said, switching to standard galactic despite the emotion cracking through her words. "The Kresh poison... She's dying. Our healers can't stop it. The toxin rewrites itself, adapts to every countermeasure." "I know," Ferret said, his voice like gravel worn smooth by water. "I've seen what Kresh weapons do." He moved closer, and Maya had to suppress her urge to bare her small fangs. Something in his posture, the careful respect, the lack of predatory assessment, kept her from attacking. Ferret knelt beside Seraphine's massive head, placing one scarred hand against her scales. "Seraphina the Bright," he said quietly, "guardian of the Western Reach. I heard you sing once, years ago, during the Void incursion at Keller's Prime. Your voice held back the darkness long enough for the evacuation." Maya's eyes widened. "You were there. Ground forces. We held the shield generators while your mother and her flight kept the Voidspawn from reaching orbit." He pulled a compact medical kit from his jacket, fingers moving with practiced speed. "Kresh adaptive poison. Standard draconic biology can't process it because it's not really a poison, it's a nano-weapon system. Constantly evolving. Can you stop it?" Hope and desperation warred in Maya's voice. Ferret's jaw tightened. Dragons think in terms of biological solutions, natural healing, magical resonance. He pulled out what looked like a combat injector, checking its readout. "Humans learned a long time ago that sometimes you don't fight biology with biology, you fight nanotechnology with nanotechnology." He pressed the injector against a gap in Seraphine's scales, where the poison had spread its dark tendrils beneath the skin. "During the war, we captured Krush weapons, reverse-engineered them, created countermeasures. Most species refused to use them, said it was unnatural, that fighting with the enemy's own tools diminished you. But humans didn't care about that," Maya said. "Understanding dawning, we cared about survival." The injector hissed, releasing its payload. "We cared about protecting what mattered. Philosophy is a luxury you debate after everyone's alive to have the conversation." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Seraphine's breathing steadied, deepened. The black veins of poison visible beneath her scales began to recede, consumed by something even more aggressive, even more adaptive, but programmed to self-destruct once its mission was complete. Maya watched in wonder as color returned to her mother's scales. As the great dragon's eyes flickered open with returning consciousness, "You saved her," Maya breathed. "Why, humans and dragons, we've never been allies, never been friends." Ferret stood, brushing sand from his knees. His cybernetic eye whirred slightly as it refocused. "Your mother saved 300 humans at Keller's prime. I was one of them. Maybe we've never been allies officially, but debts are debts." He paused, something almost like a smile crossing his weathered face. "Besides, I know what it's like to be a kid watching someone you love slip away. Nobody should have to feel helpless like that." He turned to leave, but Maya called after him. "Wait, what's your name? My mama will want to know who to thank." "Ferret," he said without turning back. "Tell her we're even now. Tell her some humans still remember the old songs." As he disappeared over the ridge, Seraphine's great head lifted, her eyes focusing on her daughter. "Maya," she rumbled weakly. "What happened?" Maya pressed against her mother's side, tears of relief streaming down her scaled cheeks. "A human saved you, Mama, just like in your stories. Just like you always said they would when it mattered most, when everything seemed impossible, when the universe itself seemed ready to claim victory." "A human said no," Seraphina finished, understanding flooding her ancient eyes. "Yes," Maya whispered. "A human said no." Above them, the twin suns continued their arc across the alien sky, and in the distance, a lone figure walked steadily through the crimson desert, carrying the weight of old wars and older debts. Finally, a little bit lighter. The end.